panoramas and Instagram. You wouldn't think they'd go well together, but they do. Hey everybody, this is Scott Wyden-Kivowitz, author of Go Wider with Panoramic Photography, and I want to show you how to elegantly share your panoramic photographs on Instagram. Now, yes, you could use apps like Image Grid for Instagram or any of those that will actually automatically splice and give you multiple photos, basically multiple square photos cropped of your panoramics, so that you can have in your profile, 3 images side by side, right? Now, this is kind of cool. The problem is most people don't go to your profile to look at your feed. They are just scrolling through their own personal feed. So they're not going to see your images side by side typically. They're going to see them one by one as they scroll. So Instagram just came out with a new feature recently, which I shared in a previous video, which I will be sure to link to, called Instagram Galleries. Basically, it's a little carousel where you swipe. You swipe through your photos, and the beautiful thing is you can either make it as a portfolio or you can make it as one panoramic, because they actually you don't really see the dividers between the images. It's just a very smooth transition from one to the other. So I'm going to show you how in Photoshop to actually accomplish automatically making your splices, your crops, from a panoramic image to import into Instagram. So I'm going to show you how to do it in Photoshop, and I made an action, so be sure to to watch the whole video so that you can see where you need to start and stop with the action. And then I will also show you how to get it onto Instagram on your phone. Now, it's worth noting that the action, you might need to stop at a certain points to make some different changes, because depending on what you're doing, and you'll see, I'm going to show you 2 different examples. Depending on the dimensions of your panoramic, you might need to change where the slices are. Okay, so take a look. Here in Photoshop, I have 2 different images. They are both panoramics, but they are very different dimensions. Okay, now one is extremely long. It's a lot of panning, and the other is much shorter. But what I've done, well, first, before we even do that, typically over here you're on the crop tool, right? If you hard click on it, or you just hit the C key, you can switch to the slice tool. And when you switch to the slice tool, it gives you this little slicing pen marker, and then you can also do some other things, right? What I've done is I create an action, which it's gonna be called Pano Slice for Instagram, and I will be sure to put that in the YouTube video so that you can download that. And all you gotta do is hit play. Now, when you hit play, it's going to create a slice, a master slice for the entire image, and then it is going to divide that slice into 3. Okay, and now I'm gonna show you real quick what that looks like in slow motion so you can see how that looks. So basically, I was right-clicking, promoting to user slice, right-clicking, dividing the slice into 3. Now, as you can see, for this one image, 3 is actually quite wide, right? So ideally for this one, we want 4 vertically divided images. Okay, and that makes them more squared. They're still not perfectly proportioned, but it's much better. It's much better than if it was 3. But I can only do one option in the action, so I'm defaulting it to 3, because if I go through and I do this one, promote to user slice, divide slice into 3, it's actually perfect, right? So the action will say 3, but you can always switch it to 4 at any given time. Let's say we go ahead and we create we divide the slice and we make 3. Now, let's say 3 is not good enough. You right-click on one slice, delete slice. Right-click on the other, delete slice, and then right-click on the third, and you delete it. You go back to the device slice, and you make 4. And now you have 4 slices. Okay, then what the action does, let me go back to the action so you can see. After it divides the slices, you actually go to Save for Web. Now I'm going to automate this with this one down here, but in the meantime, I'm going to show you how it looks up here. So go to File, export, save for web legacy is what I'm using here. And then you're just gonna go and that dialog box is gonna open and Instagram will automatically compress your images. So I am not going to do any compression inside of Photoshop so that I get the utmost maximum quality. So I have JPEG maximum quality 100 and that's all I'm gonna do. Then I'm gonna hit save. And you will see that when I click save, it is actually going to load this box where you can say where you want to put them. So I'm going to call this Wilson Hall because it is actually, that's actually where it is. And then you can see here it says slices and it says all slices. Make sure that all slices is selected. And I'm going to show you exactly what happens when I do that. And I'm going to bring this over here so you can see this. I'm going to delete these 3 and I'm going to delete those and all that. Okay, so I'm going to put it inside of the Instagram folder I have in Dropbox, and I call this one Wilson Hall. All slices are selected, and I'm going to hit save. And then, while that's going, I'm going to leave the window in the foreground, so when that box is gone, we see this window pop up. Okay, so now inside of the Instagram folder is a folder called Images. Inside of there is 4 images, all squared, the almost perfect proportions, and there we go. Now, you might need to experiment because you might find that the wider one, doing 3 for this, might be actually better. But we'll bring this into Instagram and I'll show you how this looks. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the action for the other one. For this one, this is the Hoover Dam. I'm going to just hit the action. And actually, before I do that, let me delete the slice, and there's no slices. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the action, and it's gonna do this, automatically create the slices, divide the slices, bring me to the save dialog box, and I'm gonna hit save, and I'm gonna call this Hoover Dam, and I'm going to save it. And now it's gonna do the same thing. I have 3 slices for the Hoover Dam that are all actually perfect proportions, which is actually really nice. That's why I did 3 as the starter, because typically you might find the 3 is better. Okay, so now I'm going to stop, open up Instagram, start recording again so you can see how that looks. Okay, so here we are inside of Dropbox, and all I'm gonna do is go ahead and save all of these images to my phone. Now, on iOS, they don't make it extremely fast to save individual images to your phone, but they do on Android apparently. So if you have an Android, it's very quick for you to save all of these photos to your phone. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll pause and I'll come back once it's done. Okay, so here we are inside of my Photos app, and you can see that I have all the photos right here. And actually, when you look at them on the grid, it actually looks really nice all side by side, right? So let's go into Instagram. And here we are inside of Instagram, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold on the publishing button, select multiple, and I'm going to switch to first I'm going to do the Hoover Dam one. Now you have to start from right to left, not left to right, I believe. And let's actually, you have to go in order as well. So just to make sure I have all this in the right order, we'll hit next. Now you can preview it, and you can see that looks really, really nice. And you can add your filter if you want to add a filter. You can add it over the entire thing. I recommend not adding a filter because these are your photographs and you're doing it from your professional camera, not just your phone. I wouldn't recommend adding a filter. So I'm going to hit next and type in a quick caption. Okay, now you can go ahead and add, hashtags if you want to, all that kind of stuff. I am not going to add many. I'm just going to add pano and maybe panoramic and then maybe Hoover Dam. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit publish to Facebook and share. Now if I go, once that's done posting, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my profile, go to that image specifically, and you can see that as you swipe, you're seeing the entire image and it's seamless. You're not seeing any crop marks. Even when you go in between, it is 100% seamless, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. right? Now this is much better than doing it where you're seeing 1, 2, 3 being all part of one, because like I said, people don't just go to your profile to look at what you're posting. People will actually just look in their feed. So if they see one that says, usually when you're scrolling, it'll actually say swipe to see more, or they'll see the dot, and then they can just start going like this. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh, hey. Okay, so now I want to show you the Wilson Hall, the one that's wider. And we're going to see if the 4 slices actually works well for this one. So I'm going to, again, hold, and then I'm going to choose multiple, get rid of that, start from 1, 2, 3, 4, hit next, and then preview it, and see how it looks. Look at that. Look how good that looks. So right here, as you can see in the preview, you're seeing the actual dividers, right? You're seeing the dividers between the images. But when we go to hit next and we publish this, you actually won't see the dividers. So I'm going to say pano of Wilson Hall at Monmouth University. I'm going to say, hello, Annie. Now, if you don't know, Wilson Hall is actually where the original movie, Annie, was filmed in New Jersey at Monmouth University. Now I'm going to type, I'm going to do a hashtag MonmouthU. I'm going to do Wilson Hall. And I'm going to do Annie. Okay, again, I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to add a location and do Wilson Hall. There we go. Add that to Swarm, and then I am going to go ahead and share. Okay, so now I'm going to have another one. Again, I'm going to go to my profile, and you can see the seamless transition between slides. And again, 4 slices worked really well for this one, whereas in others, it may not. It's a matter of trial and error. The nice thing is you can preview it before you actually hit publish, and that's it. So let me go back to the camera. Okay, so as you can see, it is extremely simple to make these sliced panoramics for Instagram. You can do it manually. I'm going to give you the action to sort of speed up the process a little bit so you don't have to fuss around with figuring out which settings to do. And I hope that today in New Jersey, we're supposed to be getting like 12 inches of snow. So I hope that on this snowy day, wherever you are, maybe it's sunny wherever you are, but I hope wherever you are, you enjoy this and you can try it, experiment, see how you like it. And, you know, it's meant for panoramics, but it can work with any really wide image. So enjoy it. Thanks for watching.